Welcome back to Sad Dad. My name is Dave Abkarian. I am a comedian out of Fresno, California. And this is a podcast where we talk about our dads. I sit down with my funny friends and we have conversations about dads, all with an aim to make me a better dad. I have a special guest with me today, back by popular demand. You want to say hi and tell everybody your name?
Hi, I'm Abby.
You're Abby?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I had you on a while back, and everybody really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's great. What's been going on with you?
Been in school.
You been in school?
Yeah.
What's that accent? Why are you talking like that?
I don't know. I was like talking like that.
We had kind of a crazy week, huh?
Yeah.
We just got back from doing something.
Oh yeah, open house and the book fair.
And the book fair, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Stop banging your chair around, baby.
Okay.
Making a lot of noise.
Okay.
Yeah, that was neat. Got to see your classroom. Got to say hi to your teacher.
Yeah.
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 You don't want to talk about it?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay. Well, we're gonna kill two birds with one stone here. We're gonna record a podcast and also work on your spelling words.
Right.
So first word, you remember it? You remember what it is? Strike.
S-T. R. I. C. K. E.
Yeah. Do it one more time.
S. P.
No.
I mean S-T. R. I. K. E.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. Where was I? Where was I this last week?
You were in Louisiana.
Louisiana.
And a lot of places in United States.
Yeah, what was I doing while I was gone?
Doing comedy shows.
I was doing comedy shows. I was on a tour. Yeah, that was neat. Went all the way across the United States. You know how many miles it was?
1,000,000?
Not that many, no.
How many?
Well, it was 1,800 miles one way, so... Okay.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. These whistles are so loud.
I know, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I did comedy all across the United States with some of my funny friends. But you called me. That was nice.
You.
And you texted me. I missed you a lot.
Me too. Why did you have to be gone for a whole week?
I know. I'm sorry. But you got mommy's old phone, and so you can call me and text me now?
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
But the screen's coming off, so soon we're going to have to repair it.
It's coming off?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's almost all the way off.
Is it just the screen protector?
No, it's this whole screen.
What? That's crazy. How does that even happen to a phone? Next word, spray.
S-P. A. S-P-R. A. T.
No.
Spray. A.
Yeah. There's no...
S-P-A.
No.
R. I mean...
Sound it out, baby.
S-P-R. A. R. Wait, why did I say that? I mean, why?
Yeah. Just go run through it one more time. Just real quick.
S-P-R-A-Y.
Boom. Got it.
Finally.
Yeah, that was, that tour was something else. That was neat, but it was cool that I could call you whenever.
Yeah, I wish we could FaceTime.
Yeah. Why didn't we? Can you FaceTime on that phone?
Yeah, but I don't think Mommy would let me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, ask her about it. You don't know that for a fact. She might be open to... I'll ask her.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. You're here now, so I guess we don't really need to.
Tomorrow Isaac's going to Disneyland.
What? That's cool.
He's leaving on Friday, saying Saturday and Sunday. He said Monday too. He said he's gonna stay there for 3 days. I think he's just staying there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure they're staying they're gonna be there. Well, they're going on Friday, so they're driving, and then it's like when we got there, we didn't go to the park or anything. We just stayed at the hotel, get some dinner, and went to bed.
What? Well, that seems like
I'm
a good
pretty
idea.
sure. I think Isaac's gonna do that too.
What? Are all of them going? Because he has a brand new baby brother, doesn't he?
Yeah, they're all going.
Wow. Man, that seems so like a lot of work.
Yeah, hopefully Isaac's tall enough to go on Indiana Jones.
I hope so too.
I'm 48 inches.
Nice, baby.
I can ride the Sally Symphony swings all alone.
You did it all by yourself that last time. Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
No buckles pulling me back where I can barely sit up. I'm always sitting down like this.
Uh-huh.
I always try to pull up, but it keeps me locked down. I was like, oh, I'm so tired of that. Oh man, I need to fart so bad.
You need to fart so bad?
It's gonna be so loud.
That was a good one.
I wonder if they heard it.
I could hear it on my headphones. So that was probably the funniest thing that's ever happened on my show. Way to go. Next word, splash.
I'm trying not to look at the S P L A C. I mean S H.
There you go. One more time, all the way through.
S P A S P L A. I mean S.
No, yes. SPL.
S P L
Ash.
A S
Yeah.
H.
Yes. High five on that one. I feel like you'd probably do better if you were like writing these out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I write them instead?
I think we've come too far because then you have to go get a pencil and it's this whole thing. Okay. And here's a couple things. Yeah. I was gonna talk about our tour. That's why this episode is like a week and 1 day late. Wow, that was a really loud whistle. Yeah, so because I couldn't really put out an episode from the road and
because you did have all the microphones and the headset and the computer and then the mouse.
Well, I took some of it with me so that I could do because I already had the main part of the show like recorded.
Oh.
But I needed to do this beginning part.
Yeah, if you tried doing it in the car, it would just all fall over.
Yeah. It'd be really noisy. Is that the car crashing?
No, like going over bumps and then pretend you're in the car. Mm-hmm. Bump. I didn't mean to do that.
The people listening to it can't see what you're doing with your hands.
I know,
right?
but I wish you can.
So I went on tour and I meant to record some stuff but we were so busy. We got so busy.
Yeah.
Our first stop was in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Whoa! Wait, how far is that away?
I don't know. It's like 500 or 600 miles. It's maybe more like 800 miles. I'm not sure.
Whoa!
It was like a 6 to 8 hour car drive, I think.
I would never want to be being in a car that long.
That was a really long time. And then the next night we were in Albuquerque. You want to hear something crazy that happened when we were in Albuquerque?
Yeah.
We were driving home after the show, and we got into an accident, a car accident.
No.
Yeah. You know what happened?
What?
We got rear-ended by a motorcycle. And
Did it goes past the car and then got in half?
No, we were just at a stoplight and he ran into the back of us, but he fell off his bike. He was going really fast and too fast, and he skid and he hurt himself. I mean, he was okay, but it was pretty scary when it happened.
So there was just dent in the car. It didn't all break down or anything.
No. He did, but the ambulance did come for him. There was an ambulance. That was we had to
for some reason
check on him and stuff.
Yeah. For some reason, it was yesterday on Tuesday. There was an ambulance at school.
Oh, that's scary.
I don't know what happened.
That's pretty scary.
It wasn't going woo. It was just parked there.
Huh. Crazy. Next word. Split.
S. L.
No. Sound it out, girl. Or just write it on the table.
P. S. P. L. I. T.
Nice. A pie. What's that? You can't.
A headbutt.
I was trying to high five you. You can't high five a headbutt.
A high butt.
So, the guy, I have a guest today.
Yeah.
On this episode.
Yeah.
And his name is Mitch Burrow.
Okay.
You got to back up from the mic a little bit, baby. You're kind of loud.
Oh. I didn't know.
And Mitch Burrow is a really funny. Do you know what he does for a living?
What?
Try to guess.
Do comedy.
Yeah, that's right. He's a comedian. He's a comedian, huh? And he came all the way up from L.A. He's originally from Georgia. He lives in Los Angeles now.
Oh, okay. That's not too far.
No, it's just a few hours away.
3
You know what he used
hours.
to do before he was a comedian?
What?
He worked on helicopters and airplanes.
Whoa!
And then before that, you know what he did?
I don't know.
He was in the Marine Corp.
Whoa! Awesome.
Next word is scrape.
S.
Write it on the table like you were before.
S. That's a backwards. It's S. K.
No.
C. S. C. R. A. P. E.
There you go. Nailed it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, maniac. So there's a thing that happened. Okay, so I think Mitch Burrow is really funny, and he and I were talking when we were recording, and I was having so much fun, and I was laughing so hard that one of the things my computer does, if I'm not wiggling the mouse every now and then, is it goes to sleep. Oh, yeah. So there's this weird cut in the episode, kind of about 41 minutes in or so, where it kind of cuts out and then it picks up again right as Mitch is saying something really funny. And you won't get this reference, but it felt like there's this movie called Wayne's World where they're sitting and they're having an argument and they're right underneath they're right outside an airport, and this airplane flies over, and the two buddies that are the main characters are arguing, but you can't hear the argument because the plane's flying over. It's and then it cuts back in, and one of them is and then the handle broke off. Then he had to go to the doctor. So fun. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. Next word, 3.
T. H. R. E.
Nice.
E.
Nice. So, this is an episode with Mitch Burrow. We'll catch you on the other side of this thing. Did you have fun? Okay, so we're gonna be quiet for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
And then we're gonna start talking again when I point at you. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Mitch Burrow. I hope you enjoy this episode. It is a ton of fun, and I laugh way too much. We get on a weird tangent, a Stephen King tangent, and it goes on for probably too long, and it's so much fun. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
What about your ear?
Same.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Hi. How are you? You look so cozy.
Oh, we're recording?
We're recording.
Sorry, I had a piece of a sunflower seed like caught in that area, but between your nose and your throat somehow.
Oh yeah.
So I had to. It's probably gonna like sound weird. The people will hear it. They'll be like, "What was?" Sound like someone was trying to hawk up like a little loogie or something. Got it. There we go. All right.
It's a fun sound for you to be making while wrapped in a frozen blanket.
I am very comfy. Do you think, is your daughter going to be upset when she comes home and her blanket's gone?
Maybe. I don't know.
This isn't like a security blanket for her, is it? Like, she's you said she's 9?
7.
7?
Yeah.
She's too old for Frozen.
It's
time for her to let it go.
To a 38-year-old man.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I told someone that I was sleeping under a Frozen blanket, and the comments were inappropriate, to say the least. But, it's a nice fleece blanket. It's keeping me warm.
You've been sporting it the last 2 days. It's been adorable. I should take a picture of you. Yeah, man. Well, you're Mitch Burrow.
Oh yeah, that's who I am.
That's who you are.
That's me.
And you're a comedian.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're real fucking funny, man.
Oh, thank you very much. Let the people know.
Oh, hang on one second. I got somebody.
Someone's at the door. What a great podcast. Anything can happen. His parents can show up, or the mailman can deliver some mail, or it could be a drug deal going down. I could be getting executed right now as I speak, but it was actually
the mailman. Yeah,
it was the mailman. Was it worth ruining this podcast for?
No, not even a little bit. It was a Capital One offer. I don't know if they know my credit score.
Capital One, we'll take anybody.
I know. I think I'm like in the mid 600s or something. I guess that's
not bad.
Yeah.
In these days, that's great.
That was the last time I checked.
Congratulations.
Yeah. The worst is when you have to, when you have to let bills go. You're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna let it go. The worst thing to do that with is your bank account. You're like,
I think people don't realize that you can actually do that. Just be like, I just don't want to pay for this anymore.
Yeah.
And then the credit, like you can't go to jail for it. Like they can only report it on they were the ones who lent you the money.
Yeah.
And it's their fault for doing it. So then they can tell on you and put it on your credit report. But outside of that, there's no repercussions for not paying things off.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, man. It's this amplifier.
I'll just take it off.
We can just deal with that.
We've been having headphone problems.
Yeah, and it's recording just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, though. That's one of the things I learned from my divorce.
And then there's other things, like you can do bankruptcy, which is just like paperwork to not pay people back.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if that's really necessary. Because here's the thing. If you... All right, let's say some stuff happens. You let some stuff get away from you or whatever. Just be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then 7 years will go by and it'll all be gone.
Yeah.
That's it. You start over. So, just let them take your car, whatever.
Yeah. And I think you learn a valuable lesson about living within your means in the meantime.
I'm still trying to learn that lesson. But the problem is I don't have any means. So, it's hard to live within nothing. It's so crazy, dude. I made such good money when I worked at Boeing, over $100,000 a year, solid health benefits and a retirement plan. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm an artist. I can't be being held down by this corporate lifestyle. And then I moved to L.A. from Seattle, where the cost of living wasn't much different. But man, the amount of money that I make now compared to then is it's painful.
Yeah. I mean, do you But do you like regret? You don't feel like you regret the decision, though, do you? I mean, are you happy
Every day.
Every day?
Every day. I'm drinking at noon. Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, I poured some of your Jameson in here for the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Like, I wish there would have been a different way to do it. I mean, you can stay in the same city and hope that Hollywood will come to you, or something like. But the truth is, man, you have to pursue it, and it's a decision that I think a lot of people make where they're at this point where I was taking time off from work to go on the road. I was taking time off of work to do festivals, and eventually I got to the point where I'd used up all of my vacation and all of my sick leave, and I was either going to turn down shows or I was going to walk away from Boeing, and I made the decision to walk away from Boeing.
Yeah, good for you, man.
You know,
I mean, that's a tough decision.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Yeah.
It's been a hard transition, man. I've lived in my car for long periods of time, and I've moved from place to place, like trying to find it sucks. Like I literally live paycheck to paycheck, and more so, almost like paycheck to a couple days after the next paycheck or whatever. I'm always trying to catch up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a similar situation where I was making a lot of money at a job and I quit it. Although I feel a lot happy. I don't know. I feel like I was super stressed. I get stressed doing comedy full time, but it's not the same kind of stress though.
Yeah.
Feel,
Well, one thing that I'll say is that anyone who says like money does not bring you happiness is like, they're wrong.
Yeah.
There's not a single problem that I really have that couldn't be solved with more money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying you can't be sad with money, but I am saying that right now, at this point in my life, I would be a lot happier if I had it.
Sure.
Like that's the truth.
I think the only trade-off there is like if you had all the money in the world right now, all the money you'd ever want, I should say, you probably wouldn't pursue comedy very aggressively.
Nah, man, I'd be so happy and chill. I'd be living in Costa Rica,
right.
just trying to learn how to surf, losing weight because I'd just be living off of tropical fruit and ceviche.
Make sure to stay hydrated from all the diarrhea, but okay, yeah. I love ceviche.
Once you're there for a while, your body gets used to whatever bacteria is in the
in the coconuts.
Yeah, whatever it is, but. Dude, I would, or Thailand, or any tropical place. There's no comedy in those places.
Sure,
because they don't need it.
Yeah,
they're just living. And also, you notice a lot of technological advancements don't come from places like that either.
Yeah.
Because they're not striving to improve life because it's so good already.
Yeah,
if you live in a tropical environment or it's just. Like Hawaii or Costa Rica or Thailand or Bali or whatever it is, man. Just any of these places with a bunch of coastline and coconut trees and shit. You're just happy.
Yeah.
You're not trying to make jokes to make yourself feel better about the corrupt government. You're just enjoying the sunshine and beautiful women and everyone's beautiful there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, and a lot of natural resources. I mean, it's not like everybody's piled in on top of each other.
Now, if you live in San Jose, Costa Rica, which is the capital, which is the city, it's a slum like downtown Los Angeles or something like that. You got to get away from those places and get that beach lifestyle.
Yeah, man, that sounds good. So you just go full on Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville on if you could.
Yeah, man, I would corporatize beach lifestyle.
Yeah, full on Tommy Bahama situation. I like it.
Oh hell yeah, man!
That's good. So, dude, we've been hanging out pretty much nonstop the last 36 hours. You started comedy after you got out of the Marine Corp?
No, well, I mean, a few years after. I got out in 2003. I didn't step on stage until 2007.
Oh, okay.
So it was about a 4-year gap between that time.
And then you went straight out of the military into working for Boeing? Is that when you were working for them?
Sort of. I went back home to Georgia for a year for school, and then one of my old buddies from the Marine Corps asked me if I wanted to work on an airplane with him, and I said yeah. So he got me an application, and then I wound up getting hired on that, like pretty much like a year after I got out of the Marine Corps.
And was that what took you to Seattle, or?
Well, it's in a roundabout way. It took me to Edwards Air Force Base in California, which is outside of like Palmdale and Lancaster.
Yeah.
And I was there for 3 years. Halfway through that third year, I got it in my mind to like try stand-up comedy. And I did it. So I was doing comedy for like 6 months in the Los Angeles area. Mm-hmm. And then I got transferred up to Seattle. And that's when I really got into it.
Yeah. How's the Seattle scene?
Seattle's great. There's there's like 4 or 5 clubs within a 30-mile radius or so. There's a lot of independent shows that are put on. There's a bunch of casino work around that region that you can get paid to do. So, I mean, like 3 or 4 years in, I was making decent money doing comedy. In fact, at a certain point in Seattle, I could have paid my cost of living on that local comedy scene alone. But it's funny. I make less money now doing comedy than I did in Seattle.
Well, I was talking to a guy last week, Aaron Weaver, who kind of said the same thing about Chicago. That's like where he came up out of, and it's like he just kind of hit a ceiling after a while. And he's the same situation. He moved out from Chicago to LA to, like you said, Hollywood's not going to come find you. You gotta go after it. So
yeah, I mean, and here's the sad, like there are people that it does fine. It's crazy. Like there are some people who just get picked up from places, but. You gotta make the move, and in Chicago or Louisville, Kentucky, or Indianapolis, those places are great because there's so much work around those places. Like you can make a living as a road comic in those cities.
Yeah.
And then move to LA, and your livelihood is gone.
Yeah, right.
Because there's no real work like that. Like this is like coming up here to Fresno from Los Angeles is some of the best work that you can get outside of LA, like in this region.
Yeah.
Like it's hard. You got to get into like the casino circuit in Vegas somehow.
Yeah, man. And at any point did you ever run shows?
Yeah, I ran a couple shows in Seattle, and I did one show in Los Angeles. But the truth is, like, I hate producing shows.
Yeah,
I love doing stand up, but I hate making posters. I hate booking comics. I hate comics asking me to be on a show after I've already got it booked. Like, it's all like it's just so aggravating. I'd rather just be the person who gets booked and perform.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, and I get all of that. Like, we stopped doing posters. Like, we just don't do. I don't know what. It makes it harder to track your numbers too, because you don't know how many people are actually viewing the poster. When we can track our metrics through like likes and goings and all that stuff too. But
well, I wish you guys would have made some posters for last night's show.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe let a few people know we were going to be
there. You made it fun though. You didn't give a fuck. You had a good time.
No, it was good, and it actually filled up by the time I got in there.
Yeah.
There was a decent amount of people in there, so it was fun.
Yeah, you fucking. That was. You know the one joke you didn't do last night I really wanted you to was your Prius joke.
Oh, really? That's such a throwaway line.
It's such a good bit, man. About the stereotype not going the other direction.
Yeah.
When you drive a Prius versus a big truck.
That's funny, man.
It's a good bit.
It's also like that joke. I have a joke about people judging people with big trucks and saying that they have little dicks. But there's another part to that joke that I rarely do. It depends on where I'm at. But it's you'll never see like a hipster walk into a coffee shop and be like, "Oh, what are you reading? Bukowski? Huh, you must have a real little brain." Not me. All I read is Dean Koontz because I ain't got shit to prove, right? And it's like a play on the like if you're gonna call people out for having little dicks for driving big trucks, then call people out for having little brains for reading big books. But nobody fucking reads. So when I use like Bukowski, like I have to literally be in a fucking coffee shop full of hipsters for people to get the reference.
Right.
And then I have a GED, so when people don't fucking laugh at it, I get mad, and then I realize, like, okay, now you have a person with a GED like criticizing you for not reading enough. Like this is everything about this is just wrong. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
So then I just keep it simple to the driving a Prius and having a big dick. I guess
People are like, what's wrong with Dean Koontz? I love Odd Thomas.
Odd Thomas is great, and I love Dean Koontz, man. I've probably read 20 of Dean Koontz's books, which is only like a tenth of his fucking library.
I know, he's
he writes. He wrote so many fucking books, but they're all like cheap reads. You know, like it's very very clear writing. Like people. People either like Dean Koontz or they like Stephen King. I don't think they like both of them.
Yeah.
And like for me, I love Dean Koontz. I hate Stephen King because Stephen King will spend 3 pages describing one creature. And I'm like, okay, you self-indulgent, coked out piece of shit. Like, quit feeding your own ego with the way you're writing. Just tell us it's a man with lobster claws and fucking move on.
Yeah, man.
You know, like it just gets so frustrating. Also, the Dark Tower series. Did you read it?
I did.
Okay. All right. So, spoiler alert, or can I talk around it? I'm trying to figure out how to do this.
Earmuffs if you haven't seen it before. I'll let you.
You know what? I'll just do this in a roundabout way. So no spoilers. But my friend had the series, and I was like, yeah, man, let me read it because I was reading a lot of Dean Koontz at the time. So I was like, let me see what this is all about. Also, real quick, Stephen King has 2 different writing styles. Like when he does his novellas and his short stories, they're great.
Yeah, they are.
When he does a novel, it's like he's filling up the pages for it doesn't add anything, and that's what bothers me. All right, so he gives me the first book, the Dark Tower, the Gunslinger, and it's good.
Dude, I love the Gunslinger. Yeah.
The second one, I can't remember what it's called. The third one, there was some, and then finally I get to like the fourth one, I think, and it was like the Witches of something.
Oh no, it's Wizard in Glass.
What's the one with the witches in the title?
There's the Wolves of the Kala. Is the 5th book.
I didn't make it that far.
Oh, okay.
All right, so maybe it was Wizard in Glass. I don't remember, but at some point, I just look at my friend and I'm like, hey man, I'm done. I'm not gonna read any. It might have been the 3rd book, but I was like, I'm not gonna read any more of these. Just tell me what happened. And he was like, what? And like, no way, man. I'm not gonna. And I was like, yeah, listen, I don't want to read any more of these books.
Yeah.
But you know, just like, so I'm like, so I have some closure. Just tell me how it ends, so I don't have to put myself through this anymore.
Yeah.
And then he told me how the last book ends. Yeah. Like he basically like recited the last paragraph to me or the last sentence. And I go, wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because if I had read 3 more novels to get to that ending, I would have driven to Maine and murdered Stephen King. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind. And he rushed the ending, too. Like, he did. After he had his wreck, and he was like kind of like on the brink of death in the hospital, and then he meets a woman who's like super sick and in the hospital, and she's like, tell me what happens to Roland? How does the gunsling like? How does it end? And he was like, I don't know how it ends yet. Which, by the way, poor planning on your part. Maybe make an outline before you start writing this shit out.
Yeah,
you know,
right?
But so
4 books in.
So then I think he just like created an ending for it to like be done with it.
Yeah, a few things. One, yes, everything you said I completely agree with.
Of course.
There's a gap between books 4 and 5, like a 25-year gap, where you can tell his like writing style like changes, and it goes from like that kind of that tighter novella feel to like that big like over the top hard copy Stephen King style that he's known for now, and it's fucking terrible. Like books 5, 6, and 7 are awful. The last half of the last book is a giant fuck you to the guy that ran him over. That's all it is. It's just like they literally like find the guy.
He puts himself in the book, right?
He
like
is in
that's
the book.
another thing. Like Stephen King incorporates himself into the book.
Yeah.
It's also like I will give him credit for this. He does like in The Stand, in The Mist, like Roland or no, the Man in Black.
Oh yeah, Flag. Wait. Yeah, he goes by Flag. He goes by he's got a couple of different names.
But the antagonist of that, he's in a lot of Stephen King's work. Like that, Stephen King's like his all of his novels kind of are in the same universe, which is interesting. The Pennywise is like a part of Mist, right? I think or something like that. But it's very interesting that he incorporates all that into it. But then to throw himself into the book, it's really dumb.
And he literally writes a disclaimer before the last chapter, like being like, "Oh, guys, sometimes it's more about the journey than it is about the destination."
Oh, you fucking pussy!
He was very self-aware.
He was like, "Hey, you're not gonna like this."
That was fun. That was a fun missed Stephen King tangent.
Yeah, fuck Stephen King.
Fuck Stephen King. So on this podcast,
also hold on. Also, in it, he wrote a child gangbang scene.
He did do that.
He's just such a fucking weirdo, man.
I don't know why that was necessary.
It wasn't.
I think he had a quote on that was interesting. He's like, "I murdered kids wholesale in this book, and you're worried about all the child sex."
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, that's concerning.
Yeah, because for me, writing about murder isn't the same as writing. You really have to picture the sexual stuff. I don't know, man. There's just a mental thing about that for me.
Yeah.
I could sit if I sat here and described in detail how I would murder somebody, you'd be like, "Oh, that's fucking weird, dude." Yeah. But if I sat here in detail and described how I would have sex with a child, you'd be like, "Whoa. All right, you're not sleeping in my daughter's room anymore." There would be it's just there's a context to things that take it to make it bad.
Yeah.
And that's just for him to be writing so graphically about these 4 or 5 boys running a train on this girl, and they're all 11 or 12 years old. And I hate people defending it too. It's you had to you had to give up fear, and it was about them becoming leaving childhood behind and getting away from Pennywise.
I never read it. It was nah.
Yeah, it's people like to make excuses for it, and I'm just Stephen King's just weird, man. He's just a gross, weird man. Anyway, that's it. No, that's it. You can continue on with whatever else you had.
Whatever the fuck this podcast is. We talk about dads.
Yeah. Stephen King probably was a great dad. His son wrote a book.
I mean, that's what. Not. Oh man. Now you're okay. I actually had I used to do a bit about Stephen King where it talked about, because that was in the 80s. That's why he was killing so many kids in his books, is because he was a dad, and the scariest fucking thing to him was his kids dying, and that was reflected in his.
Or maybe he just wanted to kill his kid.
It could be that too.
Yeah,
he was also drinking a 24-pack a day.
He doesn't remember writing Cujo.
I've heard that
he was fueled up on cocaine and booze, and he doesn't remember writing Cujo.
Yeah, I've heard that,
which has given me a lot of thoughts about maybe I should just sit down with an 8-ball and some Jameson, and let's just see what I can come up with. It worked for King.
That's the only reason I've ever thought about doing Adderall, was I could stand to be more productive. I
just end up cleaning my room.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, I've never done it before. I don't write anything. I'm just looking around this place is a mess.
Can't do this.
I won't get anything written as long as my pencils are out of order.
Look at these. How do I get a number 3 pencil? Where do you even get one of these?
Now I organize them by length and by the amount of eraser left on them.
Oh,
you gotta do it.
You're making me second think the Adderall thing. So I don't know. That's good. So we talk about dads.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man. You're originally from Georgia.
That's correct. Yeah.
Is that where your dad grew up too?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the most part. He was born in Hawaii.
Really?
And for years I thought that meant I was Hawaiian growing up.
Yeah. Have you seen Moana?
It really connected to me on a cultural level that I don't think people like you would understand.
So he was born in Hawaii.
He was born in Hawaii, and then my grandfather was in the Army, so I'm not sure if he ever lived anywhere outside of Georgia, but at some point they get to Georgia. And that's where it was my grandmother's hometown. Okay. That's where they wound up settling down and going on about their life.
Gotcha. So you actually have like roots in the South that go back a ways on your grandma's side?
Yeah. And my grandfather, like my grandfather was from Alabama, my grandmother was from Georgia. So yeah, like all my family on my dad's side is from the South. My mom's side, her and her mother on back were all from England.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And her dad was from the town that my dad's family on my grandmother's side were from. So like everyone has like a common point of interest in Georgia there. Mm-hmm. But on my mom's side, half of it is also from England.
Gotcha. And what was were you from a small town in Georgia? Or were you from...
Yeah, really small.
Really?
Yeah, like if you look it up on Wikipedia, it's called Carlton. Okay. And it's got like a population of like 200.
Wow,
and the medium income is like $20,000 a year.
Whoa! Like what kind of work are people doing out in Carlton? Like is it like a factory town or?
Nah, there's no factories out there. There's some places make tombstones. Because
that's very depressing.
there's a town nearby called Elberton, which is known as the granite capital of the world.
Oh, really?
And so that's kind of like there's a little bit of an industry out there, but again, it's a super small town as well. Mm-hmm. And then outside of that, I don't really know what people did, like a lot of farming and stuff.
Right, like around here. Well, what did your dad do?
My dad was a stone cutter.
Oh, really?
When my grandfather retired out of the army, he opened up a granite business.
Oh shit!
And we made tombstones for years, and now my dad just they shut down their own personal business, and my dad just went to work for somebody else cutting stone.
Oh, okay.
He didn't. My grandfather enjoyed running a business. My dad did not.
Yeah. So
my grandfather is retired, and my dad just wants to cut the stone. He doesn't want to do the personnel issues.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, because you're a handyman. That's what you do. So is that stuff you picked up from your dad, like growing up, or
I didn't pick up shit from my dad.
Oh,
man.
No.
Nah.
I mean, did you guys have we get along, or I mean, was it
no? I didn't know we were going to be talking about my dad.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just playing.
Shit. I was like, I thought I told him.
No, my dad. So my mom was 16 and he was 20 when I was born.
Oh, wow.
They lasted for about a year or two, and then split up, and then eventually my mom wound up joining the Navy. Okay. And when she did that, she gave custody of me to my dad. Mm-hmm. And then he, stories differ. Basically, what I've been heard is that my grandfather pulled a gun on him and told him that there was no way he was going to let him raise me by himself.
Whoa.
Or something. I don't know. Now, it probably just had, like, my granddad probably just had the gun, like, on the dashboard of the truck like he always did. And he just pulled up at the house and was just like, hey, it's probably best that you don't try and do this alone.
Well, he's like spinning the gun.
No, it was probably just like sitting there, like where it always was, Like and he was probably just like offering him good advice. And then my dad likes to make himself a victim and everything. And he was like, your granddaddy pulled a gun on me. And the same time I was asking him if I could borrow $50. Like he's a piece. He's whatever. It's a very bad relationship.
Yeah.
Cause so then like for the next 16 years or whatever, my dad lives 10 minutes away, and I see him maybe like once a month, and my grandparents raised me.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was really kind of your granddad that you grew up looking up to. Is that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my granddad was like the true father figure in my life, and my dad was like the asshole brother who was jealous because I came along and then took the attention and resources away from him that he would have otherwise had.
Oh, wow. So you feel like there's
a lot of resentment towards me from my dad.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah.
And you said you have I know you mentioned your sister. You have a sister, like it would be a half sister, or
yeah. So my dad, him and his wife at that point, they wound up having a daughter when I was 8 years old. Mm-hmm. But she and I were really close. Like she would come over. they would like drop her off for the weekend or whatever. Like we spent a lot of time together before I eventually left for the Marine Corps, and then she kind of like looked up to me and liked that I was out living in other countries and stuff like that. So it was kind of a cool thing for her to like look up to. And then when I eventually moved back, she graduated high school and was going to college, and she actually like moved out to California and stayed with me for a summer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like she and I have always been like super close.
Oh, got you, man. That's cool. And well, now is she a vet too now at this point, or did she?
Yeah, she actually works for a government agency. That she says that I'm not to speak about. If you can, which I think is bullshit, by the way, because the NSA has a gift shop. So like, how secretive are they being?
So then what's your relationship like with your mom? Are you?
My mom and I are cool. Like I got some issues stemming from that as well.
Sure.
You know? But I think she at least made some better attempts to make up for that. Like once I turned like 12 or so, like she started getting custom to me during the summers.
Oh, okay.
And I would go stay with her for like 2 or 3 months at a time.
Did she have it like more together than your dad did?
Oh yeah, she was in the Navy. She wound up retiring after.
Oh wow.
She retired out of the Navy after I had already gotten out of the Marine Corps myself.
Whoa, like she was like a lifer then.
Yeah, she did 20 years or so. Mm-hmm. And she would have been a much better person for me to like spend my formative years with, because I would have learned a lot more responsibility and better values, I think.
Yeah.
Grandparents shouldn't raise children.
No.
I
was going to ask you about that.
There's too much grandparent behavior. You know, like it's hard. Like they can't get around. They've already been assholes to one set of children, and so they don't want to do it. They think you know we were too hard on them. That's why they turned out the way they did. So let's try and let's try and coddle this generation, and they just fuck it up even worse.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
like I have no. There's a reason I left Boeing and started doing stand up comedy full time, and that's because like I had no sense of like repercussions or, you know, like everything had always come to me at some point in my life. So I just kind of feel like, well, you know, like this is for me. Like I can see why other people wouldn't do it, but everything works out for me.
Right.
It always has. So why would anything be different now?
Right. I mean, I experienced that a little bit with my own parents, because my older brother is 14 years older than me, and they were real strict and real hard on him, and he had a lot of behavioral issues. And I think a lot of it, I think most of it was you know, like he's bipolar, you know. I mean, but I think they blamed themselves for that, so they were a lot softer on me and my younger brother as a result. And yeah, I feel like I could stand to have a lot more discipline in my life.
When it comes to like bipolar and stuff, I wonder how much of that is genetic and how much is actually like just because of the way that you were treated and raised as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question, because I mean, you know, my older brother and I basically had, you know, I mean, we had the same parents and the same upbringing, more or less. I guess they were harder. I mean, then again, mind you, it's my older brother that says that they were harder on him. You know what I mean? But like, I got plenty of spankings from my dad. Like, my dad was real hard on us when we would act out. You know what I mean? So I don't know how much of it is my older brother just being dramatic and having a mental disorder or not. You know, I mean, it's hard for me to like understand.
What does your older brother do now?
He is been on permanent disability since he was 23 years old because of his because he can't hold down a job with his mental facilities.
How do I get that?
I don't know, man.
Because I clearly have some problems.
Yeah,
I need to get that disability check.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
How do I convince the state that I'm fucked up? Like, I should just collect every podcast I've ever been on and just be like, here, just listen.
Listen to me.
I don't know what else you want from me. Just I can't handle society's like standards. Like, just give me some money.
Yeah. And so your grandparents are still around, kicking around, and
yeah, they're not kicking. They're like 84 and 86 or something, somewhere along in there.
Yeah.
No, I guess my grandfather will be 85. And my grandmother's going to turn 87 this year. So they're getting up there.
And your parents are crazy young, too, man. I mean, because your dad was only 20 when you were born?
Yeah, so my dad's 58 now. And I guess that would make my mom like 54.
Wow.
Or 53, and in December she'll be,
Yeah. And your dad's still working. He's not retired. You were saying he's working.
Oh, he's going to work. He'll swing that hammer until the day that he dies. There's no retirement in that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe he turns 67 and gets Social Security. But that's it. So he's gonna be swinging that hammer for 9 or 10 more years before he can stop.
Really?
You know, yeah.
Really.
And then when I say swinging that hammer too, you know, cutting stone by hand. You use basically it's a miniature sledgehammer. It looks like a sledgehammer, but it's the same size as like a claw hammer, but it weighs 9 pounds.
Oh wow!
And then the other tool, it's a series of chisels that are like maybe 4 inches wide, and then they have different angles and cuts on. So you're swinging this hammer like above your head, down onto it, and I mean, you're hitting it hard.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming down with your full force, and you got to make precise like cuts with the angle of the chisel, or else it like cuts back into the rock too far.
Yeah.
It's a serious job.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trade. Yeah,
and it's extremely strainful on the body. Like, I mean, I can kind of see why he's been such an asshole the last few years. But at the same time, I'm not the one that told him to fucking stick to that job. You know, he could have been running a business and doing it the right way.
Right.
But he didn't want to have responsibility over other people.
Sure.
Which, you know, is a lot like his views on fatherhood as well, I guess.
Yeah. And did you have any siblings on your mom's side? I mean, what was her deal?
Yeah, my mom has 2 sons, but she waited 19 and 25 years to have them. So I have brothers that are 17 and 11 or something like that.
Wow,
Yeah.
man, that's all surreal. Like, oh, that person's
and they're great. Like, one of them, he's graduating high school this year, and he's been like on travel teams for hockey the last, like, they've been playing, both of them been playing hockey since they could walk. And you know, I really thought Charles, the older one, he was gonna get into college based off of it. Doesn't look like that's gonna happen at this point.
Sure.
But the younger one, you know, I think he's like NHL material, but that, I guess that means he'll probably just wind up going to college for it.
No.
But, you know, he's been playing hockey against his brother, who's 6 years older than him the entire time.
Yeah.
So his skill level is like far advanced to a lot of kids his age.
Yeah. And do you ever, I mean, you talk about it a lot in your act, like, you know, being originally from Georgia in the South and now living in LA. Do you ever miss it? Like, do you ever want to go back to it? Or?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I just went back home at the beginning of April, maybe like the 2nd or 3rd week, and it was like the 2nd week of April. I went back to Georgia, took out my dad's boat. Me and my sister, we went fishing.
Yeah.
Sat out on the lake all day, and it was great, and I miss that. You know, I miss going hunting in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like, there's just things that I did in the South. Growing, I rode 4-wheelers outside all the time. There was a lifestyle that I had there that's completely different than living in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You know, but way better Coke in LA. So take the good with the bad, I guess.
That'll win. You have a pretty cool podcast.
Yeah, it's called We're With Them. It's a political podcast. It's myself and another Marine Corps veteran, Josh Gibson. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. And then we make fun of politics. You know, we try and show that. I think because we're both Marine Corps veterans, we have a stronger bond than anything that politics would ever do to two people.
Sure.
So we run a game up front at the beginning of it. We have a guest on every episode, so it's me versus the guest. Josh writes the game, and then we talk headlines, tweets of the week, and then we give the guest like a platform. Like, all right, it's 2020. It's time for you to save the country. You're running for president. What's your stance on this?
Yeah.
What's your stance on this? What's your stance on this? Josh kind of plays a straight man, and then I kind of like fuck with the way they answer their questions.
Yeah.
You know, I try to like turn it around because most of them are liberals. So it's better for me to like be like, what's your stance on the Second Amendment this way? And then I just kind of like twist it a little bit to make it sound like
good to like challenge people on their beliefs, because I mean
it's really much more of a jokey kind of thing. We're not trying to
change anyone.
We're not trying to work for Fox News or MSNBC. Like we're totally making fun of politics. I mean, I do call him a fucking idiot at least once per episode, based off of his political beliefs. But I mean, I probably do that anyway.
Do you guys? I mean, here's a question or something I've always wondered about. Like, what's the extent to like which politics are talked about within the military? I mean, is that something that like comes up often among Marines, or is it just sort of you're there to do the job? And
I mean, look, the truth is, I would say that 90% of the military is probably Republican.
Oh, okay.
Because you know that the Republican Party is going to always put more money in the budget for the military, so that's going to mean better equipment, a higher pay raise. Like when I was in, George W. Bush was the greatest president that we've ever had because he gave us the biggest raise that we had seen in 20 years.
Wow.
You know, so like,
I'll get him on your
like
side.
that to me was like this. Wow, like there's no better president than this. You know, war crimes aside, this guy is awesome. So yeah, like I think most people in the military. I haven't met anyone in the military or a veteran that's just been straight up, yeah, man, America first. If people don't like it, they could suck our dicks. You know, like that's totally. And that's just the women in the military. You know, so like I'm sure he's got a lot of fans.
Yeah, no doubt. That's funny. Well, that's great, man. Did you ever? Because you were working on helicopters.
Yeah, I was. I was a helicopter mechanic for 5 years in the Marine Corps before I got out. And
that seems to have translated well if you got a job at Boeing, right?
Yeah, so I took that. I worked on the CH-46 Sea Knight, which is the Marine Corps tandem rotor helicopter. And if you've ever heard of a Chinook, it's what the Army flies. It's similar to it, but quite a bit bigger.
Oh, okay.
So at the end of my enlistment, as I got out, they were transitioning from the CH-46 to the V-22, which the V-22 is this really cool aircraft where it's got these huge rotors on it, and it's shaped like an airplane, right? Okay. And it's got these huge rotors on the side, so it takes off like a helicopter. And then once it's airborne, the rotors like come down.
Oh, I think I
like an airplane, and then it flies in airplane mode. And cool. So that was the aircraft that I worked on coming out, and it was, like I said, it was the replacement for the one that I worked on. So it was kind of like a nice transition into the civilian world for me to move over to that.
What I mean, I don't know, because like your childhood, was it? I mean, was it kind of like chaotic? I mean, I know you said your grandparents. You felt like you could have gotten more discipline from them. Is that a void you feel like the military like filled for you? And
yeah,
maybe
for
you're kind
sure.
Of like craving.
Absolutely, yeah. Like also the military is very structured. You know, like people complain about boot camp. Boot camp was easy for me and very fun. Not like on a physical level, but it's basically like. In the Marine Corps, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, everything that you do or are gonna do is dictated to you.
Sure.
Right? So it's like, here's an example. When you go to sleep in your underwear, like a pair of briefs, and that's it. Right? So you're laying in your rack, and then all of a sudden you hear someone yell out, 5 minutes to lights. Which means in 5 minutes it's time to wake up, which is like really kind of a dick thing to do, right? Because you're always like, I just want 5 more minutes. Right? And then finally they start doing a countdown. they'll be like 10, 9, 8, blah, blah, and then they'll go lights, 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 and then the drill instructors come out, fully clothed. They're like, get on line now. So in a squad bay, there's a line painted on the floor in front of your bunk beds. Mm-hmm. And so you're getting on and they're on each side of the squad. So you're basically standing on this line looking at the person across from you, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this is the start of your day, and here's how it starts. Put that left sock on now. Put that right sock on now. Put that skivvy shirt on. Put those trousers on. Put that blouse on. Put your left boot on. Put your right boot on. And then it's like, all right, left port side, go brush your teeth or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then you all march into the bathroom to brush your teeth, and then they start counting 5, 4, 3, 2, you're done, and then you run back out, starboard side, go, and then they do it, and so and then that doesn't stop until at the end of the day. You do a hygiene inspection where they check to make sure that you trimmed your nails and you showered properly and everything, mm-hmm. and then they tell you They say lights, 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 and they turn the lights off, and you jump in your rack and you go to sleep. Yeah. So for 3 months, basically every decision that you make has been made for you. Like there's no thought process involved. You're just following direction and moving forward, and it's the easiest thing that a person could do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, if you can handle being told what to do, you can go to boot camp.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff is fun too. Like a lot of the obstacle course or the confidence course or the jousting, they're like physical activity, the rifle range, combat training, like all this stuff is fun.
Yeah.
You know, like if you enjoy doing a certain thing, like
see, like why isn't that the recruitment pitch? Because that sounds kind of fun now. You tell me all of that. It's like, God, I do a lot of thinking on my own. It's exhausting.
I mean, pretty much, right?
Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm so unsure of everything.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I think, we hit our mark. That was great. Thank you so much. We want to, like, shamelessly plug some stuff? Like, we're going to find you on Twitter and
yeah,
Facebook,
so you can follow me on Twitter at Mitch Burrow. Instagram is the same. And my podcast, We're With Them, it's on all podcast platforms. It's hosted on the Podaholics.com network. And you can follow that podcast on Twitter, at With Them Podcast. Interact with us and, tell us what you want to hear us talk about and stuff like that. Like, we're constantly trying to improve, so, make us feel good.
Reached out to a porn star recently?
Yeah, she'll probably be on next week.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's right. Yeah. I'm glad you guys worked that out. That's cool. Cool, man. Well, again, Mitch Burrow, you were fucking rad. Thanks so much for coming on and talking dads, talking Stephen King.
Thanks for having me.
Talking military.
Yeah.
It was fun. All right, man.
We're back.
Nice. You nailed it. Way to go. That was, do you remember his name?
Mitch Burrow?
Yes. Oh, that was great. He was so funny because he had to sleep in your bed while he was here. Yeah, and he really, you know what he really liked?
What?
He really liked your frozen blanket. It was this big guy, this big manly man wandering around wrapped in a frozen blanket.
I'm frozen. I can't move. And I'm in a comfortable blanket.
He wanted to keep it. He was like, "Can I have this?" I was like, "I don't think Abby's going to let you keep your blanket." So you are so wound up right now. You're too much. So yeah, guys, check out Mitch's podcast. He's so fun. I had so much fun hanging out with. Talking to Mitch, but like the whole weekend he was up, just he and I hanging out, and we went and saw Infinity War together. We had like a full on like man date. It was great. He's a good dude. And follow him on Twitter and Instagram. And I think I'm gonna wrap this up because we had a really long intro. What do you have anything else you want to say to the people?
Peace.
Whoa, all right, I like it. Well, you heard the lady. Peace. We'll be back next week with with a special episode. I think I got to come clean with you guys. I recorded an amazing episode with an amazing comic named Ramsey Badawi. Ramsey is somebody that I really look up to. I'm a fan of all of his work. I was super stoked and flattered that he agreed to do an episode of Sad Dad with me. We sat down. He's got this crazy backstory. His dad's a really dynamic and interesting guy. We talked for like an hour and a half, and then we wrapped it up, and then I hit stop, and to my horror, it only recorded my audio. So I've been in a full-on like recovery mode right now. I don't know where I triple checked everything before we hit record. I triple checked everything after I found out it didn't work, and I can't tell. I don't know what went wrong. It's a horrifying situation. I think every podcaster fears. But what I've been doing is I took the audio from my microphone, and I've slowly been parsing it out, basically splicing out my audio so you can actually hear Ramsey's audio, and then I'm boosting what you can hear. So, but it's just been a terrible process. It's been really, really time consuming, and so I'm hoping I'll have it ready for you by next week. And I think that's it. Okay, so next Thursday. Okay, you already did one. What was that other one you had?
What do you mean?
You had another goodbye that I really liked too.
Adios.
Adios. Thanks, guys.
Adios.